The Music of Ponyville by Glass and Clouds 2. Chapter 17 Harmony. Octavia's muzzle twitched as a few sunrays fell across her body. Her body slowly stretched, then recoiled from the sun with the motion of a pony who wanted just a few minutes tucked up in her comfy bed. She turned slightly, one hoof falling off her face and clapping against a flagstone. Huh? The jolt brought her back to a level of mild awareness. As she groaned slightly, she cracked her eyes open. She felt exhausted. Maybe, she thought, she had stayed till too late, or practiced something usually strenuous. Whatever the case, though, she had practicing to do, and it wouldn't get done with her lying in bed. She would need to force herself up, untangle herself from the covers, and she realized, as the room swam into focus, that this was not her bed. Remembering everything else as there was the work of only a few moments. With a start, she scrambled to her hooves, stumbling on the rough floor a few times as she frantically looked around. Her first hurried looks were not for the tyrants, or the exit, or even for her beloved cello, but for the others. Her 5 friends had journeyed through a forest full of monsters with her, and she had to find them. "Please be okay," she muttered, forcing her aching, tired body to rotate. "Please be okay. Please be okay." Just behind her, to her great relief, were most of the others. Fluttershy was asleep, her head on Bluenote's tummy, and her mane tickling the tube of his muzzle as he snored quietly. Bluenote, too, was out like a light. Lyra Heartstrings had somehow gotten onto one of the thrones before collapsing. Her legs kicked about a little as she lived through some wild and adventurous dream. To the side of the chairs was Medley, curled up into a little ball of pony and sleeping motionlessly. And Vernal, Octavia blinked. Vernal was gone. "Vernal!" she called, literally awaking the others, but fearing the worst for the leader of their group. "Vernal! Where are you? Are you there?" She looked all around the room without finding her. Walls on multiple sides of the room had crumbled, and she hurried to the rubble, fearing that the DJ had been thrown there in the wild magic storm that ensued that night. One piled up a trick to her she knew. She began moving rocks and stones hurriedly as she could. "Vernal, if you're haunted there, say something. I will, Tommy." Octavia looked up, blushing. Vernal was staring at her through one of the holes in the wall. "I love this pair. I love this duo." "Where were you?" Vernal frowned. "Just went to look outside. Make sure the sun and moon were in the right size and place. They are. We saved the world!" She grinned. "Wait, you were looking for me, weren't you?" You do care." "No, that's is." She blushed even harder, causing Vernal to laugh loudly. "Vernal!" "Oh, relax. No shame in having friends." She winked cheekily, trying to pass her. "So, we saved the world. We should celebrate." "We should go home." Octavia frowned, looking around. She wasn't looking forward to her return trip through the Everfree, especially since now they had a bunch of heavy instruments to move through the woods as well. "I still have difficulty believing that we survived." "Why not? We're just that awesome." Octavia looked up through the ceiling. "So, we really did it. We stopped them and saved the world." It seemed so impossible, but the proof was before her. The sun and moon were no longer battling out overhead. Instead, there was just the warm, simple light of dawn steadily illuminating the room. "I wonder where the tyrants went." "Oh, they're just outside." Vernal pointed to the front door, which Octavia saw was slightly ajar. "They dragged themselves out just after that green thing left them." For a moment, Octavia couldn't speak. Then, "They're still here!" "Yeah, but hey, wait!" Octavia turned to the others. "Wake up!" she yelled. "The alicorns are still here! We have to fight them, now, before they recover! Hurry!" Medley groaned as he opened her eyes. "Really, Tavi?" "Yes, hurry now! We have to stop them!" "No, we don't!" called Vernal, but every pony ignored her. With a few yawns and grunts of pain, the others got up and hurried towards Octavia. Vernal, sighing, followed. Octavia nodded at her friends, then seized her cello from where she had set it down the night before, fastened it at her back, and ran forward. She wasn't sure what she expected to happen to the tyrants, although being returned to their astral prisons would have been her first preference. They were still outside, though, merely sleeping or rearing themselves for round two. She might have only one chance to hit them before they could get up. Wait! Repeated Vernal, while Octavia and the others just ignored her. The cellist opened the door and dashed out into the hallway, scanning frantically for the alicorns. She saw a flicker of movement from one of the side rooms and dashed at it, hoping against hope she was not too late. Before she could get into the room, though, a door opened again and an alicorn exited. For a few moments, there was only silence. That's all? Asked Medley. Seriously? See? Octavia began. She's so cute, said Fluttershy, eyes sparkling. The pony that had once been Nightmare Moon and lost over 2 feet of height, and though her mane still sparkled like the stars in the night sky, it did seem somewhat dim. She looked more like a filly of college age than an immortal goddess. Octavia didn't know what to think. It was as if Canterlot Castle had suddenly turned into a small hamlet. Nightmare Moon? She began, ready for any sort of trick. Seriously, said Medley. Well, we hit the hotter than we thought. Bluenote chuckled. Yep. Meanwhile, the pony looked aggravated. I am not cute, she insisted. I am princess of the night. I move the moon and stars. I wield power unknown. I fight star serpents and sea monsters with ease, she blessed. I am many things, but cute is... Oh, yes you are, sister, called another voice, and a white-coated, rainbow-maned alicorn trotted into the hallway from the other room. She was also shorter than any of the musicians, and her horn was now a bit tinier than Lyra's. You always had all the stallions asking after you. The first pony's voice deepened. Tia! Meanwhile, Fluttershy was looking between the two, as if trying to figure out which one was cuter. Bluenote poked her. Please, she whispered. Wait, Lyra blinked. Those two. Burning Sun and Nightmare Moon? Not exactly. The white-coated alicorn turned to them. My name is Celestia. My sister's name is Luna. We ruled the nation until... She paused. Until we were corrupted. The exact story is not important, Luna looked down. But we became the tyrants. We warred, and in the end our own creation sealed us away from Millennium. Until we broke out and warred again, and you stopped us. Luna didn't seem ready to do anything else. But Celestia put a hoof on her back and gently guided her to a bow before bowing herself. You have our thanks. Tells you we were cool now, called Vernal. Octavia blinked. I'm confused, she said at last. What happened? You sure we don't need to fight them anymore? Asked Medley. You probably have many questions. As do I, said Celestia. I must confess I'm still not exactly sure what happened to us. But perhaps our creation could be some assistance. Octavia's eyes widened slightly. In all the excitement, the princess had slipped from her mind. Is she all right? She demanded. Princess Cadance, did you hurt her? She had better be alive. She is, said Celestia. None of us broke her. If she is hurt badly, I swear I will. Then the impossible happened. There is no need to worry, Octavia. Octavia and all the others turned. And there, in the doors leading to the front entrance of the castle, looking battered and bruised, but very much alive, was Princess Cadance. Octavia forgot all else, and, pushing swiftly past the others, dashed at the princess. She felt herself leaping through the air, and then embracing Princess Cadance in the front hall. Princess, you're alive! She hugged her closely. Like the stars, I was so worried. And then Cadance was hugging her. Friends crowded around her. Octavia felt like the happiest mare in the world. Princess Cadance had learned many things in the 1,000+ years since her creation. One, it turned out, was a spell to summon delicious feasts from the air. I knew you two had been corrupted, she told the two alicorns, who were bowing at the foot of the table. Despite her repeated protests, both had refused to take a seat with her and the 6 mortal musicians. I still don't know exactly what it was, but some entity or spirit was able to twist you. You were not created long after our feud had begun, Luna protested. You never even knew us when we were ourselves. How could you know when we were altered? Cadance's smile was gentle. Your advisors, your administrators, and your close friends saw the changes. Though not immortal, they communicated with each other, elder to younger, It was they who convinced you to create me, and they later who told me what they had feared. She bowed her head. I was only a golem, but you made me better than you knew. I did not only want to fulfill my duty to raise sun and moon, I wanted to help you, my parents, in a very foreign sense. I tried to learn everything I could to help you. Magic, diplomacy, anything. But all I did was for naught. She paused. I'm not sure why the entity did not possess me as well. Perhaps it's because of my artificial nature. But instead, it convinced you two that I was the enemy and needed to be shoved aside. And we continued to feud, said Celestia softly, until we broke into open warfare, and then you were forced to use the elements of harmony on us. Cadance did not speak for several long moments. I'm sorry, she said at last. Had I acted earlier, or used the elements properly, my students and our friends have... I would not have lost you two to the stars for a millennium. No, said Celestia. Despite her reduced size, stature, and power, for Cadance had confirmed that the two alicorns were now no stronger than your average mortal pony, still sounded regal. We let ourselves be corrupted. I resented my sister and envied her, and hated her artistic gifts. 1,000 malevolent thoughts, none of which I ever expressed, but none of which I let myself forget. It is no surprise that the spirit found fertile ground in my soul to twist me to its point of view. In a moment of weakness, it came to me and told me it could help me. I allowed it, and I did not even know the sayings. It was so gradual, but one day I was trying to kill you both. She lowered her head. I was no better, said Luna. I was so jealous of your popularity and fame. I wanted that. The spirit asked me, and I too gave in. What's the spirit called, Your Majesty? Asked Lyra. Cadance frowned. I know of no name. It called itself Nemesis, said Celestia. Beyond that, I know nothing about it. I have a question, said Medley. Cadance looked at her. Yes. How come nobody knew about this, except for Lyra? We all thought that Celestia and Luna will miss. Cadance was again quiet for a few moments. My function was to serve the princesses of Equestria and keep them from strife. I had failed, and I was ashamed. Even now, though I have grown so much since my creation, it still hurts. I cannot bear to even think upon my failure. I allowed knowledge of the alicorns to fade away. She turned to the alicorns. I am sorry. I had no right to erase your tens of thousands of years of peaceful rule for my own peace of mind. The fault was ours, said Celestia. Ours and ours alone. You did far more than we could ever expect. You were created only to move celestial bodies. But when the time came, you saved the Sinistry from us, and us from each other. You have nothing to be ashamed of. The three alicorns for several moments, until Celestia nodded at Luna, and both approached the golem. We have been negligent in our duties. We allowed ourselves to be corrupted by evil, and forced you into a position where you were in no way designed for. We put you through so much stress and strain, you have every right to hate us. The two bowed. Luna added, Can you ever forgive us? Cadance looked at them, and Octavia realized he was crying. Of course. Then the three were hugging and crying, and Cadance was lightly thumping them on the head, saying, And if you ever do that again, I am going to put you in timeout forever! The musicians could not help but smile at the reunion. The rest of the breakfast passed uneventfully, with the musicians mostly listening to Cadance talking with her creators. They did speak, though, when the conversation moved to discussing the elements. You are now the bearers of the elements of harmony, said Cadance. Through your superlative virtues, you have each bonded to its element. Together, you wield magical power unmatched in all the land. On the powers and all instruments? Asked Medley. Yes. Normally, they will act as they always have. But when you need the elements, you will be able to use those instruments to activate them. Put huffed her chin. So, when great evil comes to Equestria, we should schedule a gig there and we're good? Cadance had to laugh at that. I suppose. While brightened. Hey, I've been applying for permits for months to do a show at the gates of Tartarus. No! Cadance, Octavia, Luna, Celestia all said at once. The alicorns also discussed how the government had changed in the last 1,000 years, and how it would continue to act in the future. Both Miss Celestia and Luna were a bit confused at the idea of commoners electing officials to represent them in one of the government chambers, though Keynes asserted it worked quite well as a whole. On the topic of who would occupy the royal throne also came up.
Neither of us can move the sun or moon now,
said Luna. Her horn glowed futilely, and she scowled up at the sky for a moment.
I knew I shouldn't have made the moon so heavy.
Celestia giggled.
It might be best for you to remain regent for now, for periodical reasons, and
She trailed off.
you know how the government works.
Celestia said.
We need to learn from you, and we need to regain the trust of the populace.
Luna nodded. Will you ever get your powers back? Asked Lyra. She had been the most sprightly at the breakfast table besides Vernal, and in fact seemed to have entirely forgotten they had been fighting the alicorns to the death a few hours ago.
Eventually they will, said Cadance. My creators gave much of themselves to Nemesis, so when you drove it from them, they naturally lost all that they had given. In time, I believe they will recover and heal.
She nodded her head.
There will be a day when Princess Celestia will once again watch over the day, and Luna the night. That day is in the far future, said Celestia. We should focus on the present for the time being. In the present, it might be best if you two take part in public service projects. Cleaning, construction, and so forth. That will let the ponies know you want to help them now.
Luna paused.
Will we have to wear the uniforms? Of course! We look cute in them,
said Celestia, smiling.
Yeah!
Celestia turned back to Cadance.
From what you have described, the government is so different now than from when we reigned.
She paused.
How did you know what changes to make? That was not part of your design.
Cadance smiled slightly.
Octavia, do you know the answer?
For a moment, Octavia was flummoxed. Then she realized what the answer right had to be.
Those same advisors and counselors. No, more than that. Those same friends. The ones that help you know what you ought to do to save the nation from the alicorns. They helped you thereafter too.
She nodded.
Not only by teaching you knowledge, but by allowing you to learn and grow past your original functionality, until you were as capable as they of running the nation.
Cadance smiled.
Exactly. My friends made it possible. But how?
Celestia frowned.
My sister and I were the greatest mages in history. What magic did your friends know that would prove on our design? What spells?
Asked Luna, looking a bit eager.
No spells,
said Cadance. No cantrips or incantations, or anything of that sort. Just the magic of friendship.
But that was enough.
She smiled brightly.
And I am sure that, as long as you two form a close circle of friends and stay true to them, should even Nemesis return, it'll never again find a hoofhold in your hearts.
Both true alicorns bowed their heads, and Octavia saw tears falling from her eyes.
Now, I for one would like to hear about how, exactly, 6 musicians made their way through this forest into the elements, said Cadance.
Her eyes twinkled.
Octavia.
Octavia nodded slightly, and then the 6 began their story. The 2 alicorns would return with Princess Cadance to Canterlot, though first the Golem Princess would transport the elements and their instruments out of the Everfree Forest. Octavia smiled as she watched the others pack up, before turning to Princess Cadance.
I gladly save the world.
As am I. Cadance bowed her head.
Octavia, I am so proud of you right now. Prouder than you can know.
Octavia bowed.
I am glad I was able to satisfy you, Princess.
She paused.
I understand now why my prior actions were inappropriate, and why they reflected badly on you. I apologize.
Accepted, said Cadance, easily with a smile.
And, based on your story, I now know that you understand the importance of friendship. You could never have made it this far. You had never been able to truly empathize with and befriend these other ponies.
The 2 were silent for several moments. When Cadance next spoke, it was a big, business-like prospect.
We must return to Ponyville, so the other 5 musicians may return home. You, of course, may accompany my creators and I back to Canterlot.
Cadance paused, tears expressed crossing her face.
I am mindful of the promise I made to you earlier. You have satisfactorily demonstrated your ability to work on a team. So, as promised, I will not ask you to associate with other students any more. I will provide you for a room, You can make appeals and practice as you wish. Octavia felt cold. She knew she should be happy. Cadance was offering her everything she had wanted since the beginning of her studies in Canterlot. She had wanted it so much that it was the temptation of Nightmare Moon's trap had offered her. But if she was locked in a room, she wouldn't see her friends again. She wouldn't see Fluttershy helping her birds, Bluenote cracking jokes, Lyra swooning over her crush, or Medley perfecting her harp, or Vinyl being Vinyl. She wouldn't see or hear any of them. It would just be her alone, forever and ever.
Is something wrong? Asked Princess Cadance.
It is.
Octavia paused.
I do not wish to leave them, she said. I mean, I know I have only known them for a short time, but I do not want to return so quickly. They gave me a chance when they did not need to. And they have such good ponies on.
She trailed off.
I will miss them,
she said at last. Cadance was quiet for a few moments.
Are you sure?
She asked.
I won't be disappointed in you if you want a quiet life of perfecting your talent, Octavia. You have already done more for the world than a great many other ponies. I am sure. I do not want to lose my friends. Not now. Not to just lock myself away.
She paused, realizing what she was about to ask.
Princess, you have given me so much of your time and energy, teaching me, but if I could stay a little longer.
She couldn't finish the words. Fortunately, Cadance understood. She smiled and beckoned the other musicians with a closer hoof. They trotted to her.
It occurs to me, she said, that the music of Ponyville and the surrounding region is not well known in Canterlot.
Nope, said Medley. No orchestras out here.
Well, I think that, as the nation's capital, Canterlot should have knowledge about all the music from all equestrian cities.
Cadance nodded.
Octavia, if you are willing, I am going to give you a new assignment. You are to remain in Ponyville and study its music for the foreseeable future. Become familiar with its styles and its musicians.
She smiled.
Make regular reports to me. I think this will be good for you, and
she didn't need to finish, because Octavia was furiously nodding.
Yes!
said Octavia, her self-control slipping for a moment.
Yes, of course! Thank you, Princess!
Wait, well, she's moving here, asked Medley.
Lyra grinned. Yay! New neighbor!
She's not going to help you with Bonbon, said Medley.
Hey, I can be very persuasive. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Hey, Octavia, let's do a duet on the theme of candy! Octavia could not help but smile. It will be an honor.
Bluenote approached her. It'd be happy to have you here, Octavia. You make a great addition to the town.
If you need anything to settle in, just ask,
said Fluttershy.
I'm glad you're staying here, too.
Sounds awesome! Vinyl grinned. Happy to have you too, Tavi.
Oh, thank you. And I'm happy to be here.
Octavia nodded her head.
I truly am. Mail for you, Octavia!
Octavia stuck her head out of the spare bedroom.
Thank you, she called. Be down in a moment.
Her heart quickened as she trotted down the hallway, then the stairs to the confectionery. She had needed a room, and, by good fortune, that mare that Lyra was crazy about was renting one for a reasonable price. Everything had worked out well. Lyra had even been okay on it, on the condition that Octavia made reports to her about the things her Bonnie liked and didn't like. Her assignment for the day was to find her favorite color, so Lyra could figure out the perfect flowers for their farewell wedding. Bonbon passed her the mail.
You heading out? Yes, I am meeting with the other bears in the park. We are going to play something, she chuckled. It'll be interesting to see if we can do it without the elements helping us. But I think it's certainly worth trying. Good luck.
Octavia stepped outside, and she looked at the envelope. She smiled when she recognized the handwriting as page turners. Octavia had written a long letter, apologizing for her bad behavior and asking if they could possibly be friends again. She hadn't hoped for much, knowing how badly she had hurt her assistant, but hopefully she would give the tales another chance. Octavia opened the envelope and her heart sank. It was just her own letter to Page Turner mailed back to her, unopened to her. There was only one other page in the envelope, a small note.
Try for years. Can't try anymore.
For a moment, Octavia bowed her head. See, you could not possibly blame Page Turner. The mayor had tried, and it was Octavia who failed her for years.
Why did I wait so long to learn about friendship? All the ponies are hurt. It was not right.
But then she shook her head. Yes, she had done bad things. But she had friends now. They would not help her hurt anyone else. And would help her learn and grow into a pony that every pony could be truly proud to know. She would keep trying. She would practice friendship just like she practiced her music. And with her friends as her teachers and helpers, she knew she would get far. She would become a pony every pony would be proud to know. And she would make amends to all she had wrong, and lived out life just as ponies should. It would be hard, but she would do it. After all, she had the best friends in the world. Hey, Tommy! Octavia waved at Vernal, who was standing in front of the others in the park. Hello! She said as he hurried for us. Are you ready?
My parents are all warmed up,
said Fluttershy. Let's play some awesome music! Cheered Lyra, summoning her lyre with a quick spell. Come on! This will be great! Bluenote blared a note of acknowledgement. This might not be your style, warned Medley, as Octavia got her cello up. Are you sure you want to sit in this set? Of course I do, said Octavia. You are my friends, and I would rather play music with you than do anything else in the world right now. And so they began to play, and as the sun rose again over Equestria, music once again rose to meet it. Hit it! A friend for life, that's what you are to me. A friend for life, that's what you are to me. I couldn't see what was right in front of me. Turned my back, got my mind off track. Yeah, you saw a world that was new entirely. Helped me see all the possibilities. Oh, like a star in the daylight. Oh, like a diamond at night. His light was hidden from my sight. A friend for life, that's what you are to me. A friend for life, that's what you are to me.
Every friendship is tested. You say you're sincere,
but it's all unclear now. But with a word,
everything changes. It's just like that.
You and I are right back on track. Oh, like a star in the daylight, or like a diamond at night. Your light will shine when the time is right. A friend for life, that's what you are to me. A friend for life, that's what you are to me. When I put my hoof out, and I thought I would fall, you knew just what I needed, and you came around to fix it all. A friend for life, that's what you are to me. A friend for life,
that's what you are to me.
A friend for life, that's what you are to me. Oh, like a star in the daylight,
friend for life,
like a diamond at night,
that's what you are to me. A diamond at night, a friend for life,
that's what you are to me. The end. And let me tell you, this fic was awesome! Oh, there was just so much to like about it. Okay, let's be genuous and go over the negatives. Thinking.
Well,
I'm trying. You know, guys, I was almost so positive in these reviews. I really would. I feel like I'm being disingenuous to the negatives, and I get too happy. You guys don't care. This fic was a blast, let me tell you. It was great to sit through. So much to enjoy about this. Like, for instance, I mean, the pacing was well done. Each girl got a chance to shine. The tests were original and unique. The setup, quite interesting. And everything else is meshed together. Most importantly, the songs. As we all know, music and fanfic is very hard to do, especially when it comes to prose, because we have no idea who's singing. So, this author did what he does best. Gave us wonderful descriptions of the actions, of who sang what, and just what type of beat was going. So thus, I was actually able to hear what type of songs were there, especially when the links were provided. This made singing it so much easier.
I also find interesting the differences between the three princesses for each universe, Celestia, Cadance, and Luna, when it comes to their teaching and ruling styles. Celestia, as we all know, is very, very hands off. She acts more like a Socratic method. She gives you the tools, she gives you the door, and just goes, okay, open it. She doesn't tell you how, doesn't even command you to, just gives it to you and gives you the ability to. She just nudges you. Luna is more like, okay, answer me this, and I'll answer you back, but I want to see you work for a little bit more. Also, Luna holds herself a lot back because of her own personal fears of becoming her sister. Cadance is very, very hands-on, as we've seen. She actually goes in and teaches her students. She actually goes in and tells her students how to handle things. More like a kindergarten teacher, really. Actually, if I had to compare, Celestia is closer to college, Luna is high school, and Cadance is very pre-K. And I also find it interesting that out of the three, she is the only one who decided to fight and protect her people, which makes sense, really. Celestia knew she could never beat Luna. She couldn't kill Luna in the first place, and she definitely couldn't beat her the first time. So instead, she had to try another strategy, otherwise she would die. Luna also knew her sister's story, and thus barely had a chance to actually fight. All she could do was just plea. Cadance knew that she wasn't really there, so to speak, so she was willing to give it all up. Besides that, she never actually had a fight. She just tricked them. But I think it's also important to realize that this doesn't mean any one of them is better. It's just that each of their teaching style gives them something unique. As for the presentation of this whole entire fic, personally, I felt like it was a musical, a live stage musical, and I was sitting right there watching the various performers get up and looking at the audience and making big, huge speeches. Lyra was not helping with that front. But for further evidence, look no farther than the first part of the first chapter, where Octavia was walking through, stated her motivation, and it felt like a musical was just starting up. I really like that because that really makes this story unique. Speaking of things that help make alternate universes unique, let's look at our 6 girls. What can I say? Another set that I love. When it comes to Medley, I like the fact that this fic took the time to make sure that she was different than the other Pegasus that we've encountered. For instance, Dash is fast, Raindrops is strong, while Medley is more just agile and a sort of a nice mix between the two. I found her personality to be quite interesting. As first, it looked like she was just going to be pulled back and reserved. Then we see that, yes, she does have a bit of a temper and is willing to fight. I also like her test. While Dash was a test of ideals, and Lyra's was a test of endurance and bravery in the face of overwhelming death, Medley was interesting. I also find it particular of note that this is probably the third time I've actually seen loyalty being fused with battle. I mean, we've had Blossom Force's loyalty proven when she had to fight. We've had Lyra's loyalty proven when she had to do her music, and then we had Twilight's loyalty proven when she had to face off against those temptations. And here again, here she is fighting for a pony that, at the time, she didn't like. This was showing not just her loyalty to her friends, but loyalty to the mission, to the greater good, and loyalty to her common pony, even when it is a pony that she doesn't like. Bluenote's laughter test was also quite interesting to see. Whereas Pinkie was all about giving out hope, Bluenote was more like, look at the bright side of your life. You shouldn't be corrupted by anger all the time. Have fun. Have a good little laugh at the weird and the unusual and the misshapen and the insanities. Actually laugh and chuckle about it. Have fun. Have a good time. That was what was important for her. Lyra, I also find interesting. If I have to be honest, I really, really thought Lyra was going to be laughter. I mean, come on. She's goofy, silly, energetic, and love-struck. I mean, when I first read this, I really thought, hey, she's going to be laughter. Because, well, most of the other laughters that we've met are either silly, goofy, or playful. Cheerilee, Trixie, and Pinkie Pie have all been quite silly. But, oh, in Mimic, they've all been fun, laughable, and silly. But this? No. Interestingly enough, Lyra's kindness. You wouldn't expect that. Because all the other kindnesses that we've met are soft-spoken, demure, sweet, and don't really try to do, and usually try to hold back. You know, like how Dizzy doesn't believe he is because, well, of certain events, but Dizzy's also like, I'm not kindness. No, no. So, but it makes an interesting twist and also proves that you can't always look into a pony's personality and start deciding who's going to be what element at what point. Sometimes there's a little more to it. Which brings me to final. Oh, actually, first Fluttershy. I still do love it when we got a returning element. And I find it kind of funny that Fluttershy was still Flutters, but with just a few tweaks, her element became from kindness to generosity. And somehow it still made sense. Of course she would want to dedicate all of her time and energy to helping others. That's who she is. She's like the kindest, demure Pegasus that you've ever met. You're going to love me, notwithstanding. So of course she's going to devote every single moment that she can to helping others. I even like how her test wasn't so much generosity as its sacrifice, but willing to devote all of her time to every pony, even if it looked like everything that could possibly be saved was saved. That takes a real chutzpah. Good job, Flutters. And now to the last two. I would talk about Octavia, but I want to save her for last because there was something interesting that I picked up near the end. Vernal, what can I say? She's magic. She was awesome. But she wasn't just magic. Once again, magic turns into friendship. The bonds are connected. And look at how Lyra acted. She was friends with Oxy even if she thought that Octavia was a bit of a snob. She didn't go out and say, yeah, she's a cruel girl. I'm not gonna she's not my friend. Nope. She was instantaneously her friend. End of story. And at first, it may seem weird to make her magic since, she's not the main, but nope. You see in the background, she mentions how much she studies, how much she works on magic, how much she uses magic, how much she works on giving magic. And boom, she is a magic user. And good golly, does she make use of it. Speaking of making use of it, I also think that's another point in this fixed direction is that
the songs were really well used. Whether it be from the grand and glorious musical chess to the supreme awesomeness of Survivor and Voltaire. Each song helped to move the action, helped to get it into you, helped to make you feel something. See, that's another thing some people don't realize when they have to do, this music and effect. That even if you can't understand the lyrics, the poems should at least be able to move you and make you think and imagine what the songs are like. And that's what this did. I didn't care if I didn't know the songs. Hearing my world being sung like that was pure awesome. And this brings me back to Finals' test, showing off all of her skills and magic, but more importantly, why she was doing it. For her friends. For the ponies that she cared about. I also like how at the end she was ready to give it her all. Which brings me to the interesting case of Octavia, our element of honesty. Because this is curious. Every time we've done a fix so far, done an alternate reality fix so far, and the more we do in the future, well, we follow Magic's user. Maine first, Twilight, Luniverse, Trixie! Manhattan first, Twilight again. December first, Sunset. See? Heck, even in the upcoming Flipverse, coming in 2016, we follow Spike. We follow every single element, magic element. In this case, we're following Octavia and we're seeing things from her perspective. We're seeing the element users from how she views. Interestingly enough, this is essentially what would happen if, instead of having the POV character being Twilight, we instead have our POV character being Applejack. Instead of seeing Twilight reading the book in the first image, we see her, Applejack, waking up, and we see her having to deal with her life and learning and growing from there. It's quite an interesting viewpoint. Because, in a sense, Octavia still had just as much to learn and a lot to redeem herself. I like how her element was being truthful not only to others and to herself, but also seeing things for what they were. By this point, she had reached her lowest, but she was still honest to herself of her darkest point, of her lowest setting, of where she had fallen. That maybe she didn't deserve to travel or save Equestria, but by gods, she would help. And I do like that it was her that finally pointed out which element was each element. Because you see, here's the thing. Octavia also starts off at one of the lowest points of any of them that we read. I mean, Trixie? At least Trixie had some ponies at her back when the entire town was ready to kill her. Even Raindrops was like, okay, you're an a-hole, but even you don't deserve to be mauled. Twilight was ready to go out. So she had the entire team at her back. Vinyl? Octavia? Tavi? There was nobody at her back. Except for Lyra, which, again, was another hint that I should have been given that, yes. What I like about Lyra's kindness test, on a side note, is if you pay attention when you go for a second read, you'll see the hints that she is kindness by how she acts. Beyond Lyra, Fluttershy, no! She had nothing. And what's worse, I think her a-holeness was worse than Trixie's. Yeah. Trixie? At least when Trixie wanted to throw everything away and ruin at the festival, she was doing it to help out the others, literally. I mean, yeah, she wanted to ruin it, but she was also doing it to be nice to Carrot Top and Raindrops and even try to help out Shirley. She was at least doing it for others. So, yeah, and she was actually trying to be a little responsible. Octavia? She did this for one pony and one pony only. Herself. She didn't want just plain apples because he thought that only traits that she thought were good would be appropriate. Because that's the way the nobility wanted it in her mind. She only wanted her music because she thought only her style was good. She wanted only her ideals because only she thinks is right. She hurt every pony's feelings just because she wanted it. It's only because she wanted to try it. So thus, it was kind of nice to watch her work her way back up from all that, to purse herself back up and struggle. And what's better? She didn't do it alone. She had 5 other mares right beside her. And yeah, Medley took a while to get used to her, but she became it. And then they had that awesome moment of singing all together as one. And that's why this story is awesome. And I'm glad to have read it for all of you. Well, it's October, and I realize I've begun a pattern of how late it is. And
Where's your play user? Where's your play user?
Yeah, Apple Bloom.
I was wondering, I'll do the preview for the next few October, for this next October story, because,
You're still excited about the whole Cutie Mark thing.
uh-huh.
Okay, let me just set it up.
Yay!
Well, everybody, it's October. And though it's a week late, it's time for Halloween to begin. Last time I did a story about werewolves. This time, we're going to whole menagerie. Zombies, ghouls, vampires. Oh yes, we're bringing out a whole mess of them tonight as we bring you a special Nightmare Night for all of you.
Today, we're going to begin a little story about Applejack, the falling into the forces of darkness. Oh, she shouldn't have gone into the woods that night. And then she realizes just what she's going to become.
Mirror.
Scares!
Cutie Mark, and she's still only 11 years old. I'll see you all next time.